At the peak of Mount Nemrut, located in modern southeastern Turkey, stands a remarkable ancient monument. A row of colossal limestone statues gazing solemnly over the landscape below. These were commissioned by Antiochus I, the king of Commagene. But who exactly was Antiochus? Why did he construct this monument? And what exactly was the kingdom of Commagene? To answer these questions, we must travel back to the beginning of the Hellenistic period. Following Alexander the Great's conquest of the Persian Empire, he passed away at the young age of 32. Subsequently, his generals engaged in a series of brutal conflicts known as the Wars of the Diadochi, which resulted in the division of his vast empire. The region of Commagene became a province of the Seleucid Empire in 301 BC, leading to its gradual Hellenization. During a period marked by Seleucid weakness due to ongoing conflicts with Hellenistic Egypt, Pergamon, and Rome, the regional Commagenian governor Ptolemaeus seized the opportunity to break away from the empire. In 163 BC, he declared himself King Ptolemaeus of Commagene, establishing an independent state. Ptolemaeus hailed from the Orontid family, which had once ruled Armenia as satraps under the Persians and had both Iranian and Armenian origins, tracing back to Darius the Great. Upon the establishment of Commagene, the city of Samosata was chosen as the capital, while the city of Arsamia on the Nymphaeus became the royal seat, housing the palace of the rulers. The ancient city of Samosata now lies submerged beneath the waters, a result of the construction of a massive dam in the region in the late 1980s. The kingdom was subdivided into small provinces, each governed by a local magistrate responsible for collecting taxes and supplying troops for the Commagenian army. Commagene was nestled amid tall, rocky mountains to the north and rolling hills to the south, with fertile plains around its capital city. The Euphrates River marked its eastern border. Winters here were cold, with thick snow on the mountains, while summers were dry and dusty. The strategic control of the Euphrates crossings in this region allowed Commagene to function as a buffer state between the dominant powers of its era. Moreover, it served as a crucial trading hub which contributed significantly to its wealth, along with the agricultural production in the fertile plains surrounding Samosata. In terms of culture, Commagene was a blend of diverse influences. As we mentioned, the ruling family of Commagene was of Iranian and Armenian descent, tracing their lineage back to Darius the Great. However, due to the reign of the Seleucids, the region had embraced many Greek cultural elements and customs. The official language of the kingdom was Greek, as evidenced by the discovered texts from this area. The kings held Greek titles and bore either Greek or Iranian names, while all official titles within the government and military were also Greek. The members of the royal family likely spoke both Koine Greek and Persian fluently. As for the common people, based on limited evidence, the majority spoke Aramaic, with a small minority consisting of Iranian, Greek, and Armenian speakers. After establishing the kingdom, Ptolemaeus I ruled for 33 years until his death in 130 BC, when his son Psammos II succeeded him. Not much is known about him except for the fact that he fortified the capital and probably expanded the royal city of Arsamia. He was succeeded by Mithridates I Callinicus in 109 BC. Mithridates became king during turbulent times, marked by ongoing conflicts among the four major powers of the region: the Romans, Seleucids, Parthians, and Armenians. Seeking to strengthen his rule and establish new alliances, Mithridates married Laodike, a Greek princess from the Seleucid dynasty. Additionally, in the city of Arsamia, he constructed a hierothesion, a monument that served both as a royal cult center and a mausoleum. Greek and Iranian deities were worshipped alongside the royal family, setting the stage for the worship of royalty in his kingdom. Around the mid-80s BC, Tigranes the Great, the king of Armenia, significantly expanded his kingdom westward to the Mediterranean, incorporating Commagene into his territory. As a result, Mithridates was appointed as a vassal king under Tigranes' rule. In 70 BC, while still under Armenian rule, Mithridates was succeeded by his son Antiochus I. Tigranes faced the Romans on the field, but was defeated twice in battle, resulting in the loss of much of his territory, including Commagene. Subsequently, around 68 BC, Commagene regained independence under Roman auspices. In response, Antiochus I adopted the title Philoromeus, friend of the Romans, signifying his allegiance to Rome. Despite this, he sought to maintain alliances with both neighboring powers to ensure the survival of his kingdom. As a result, he married his daughter Laodike to King Orontid II of the Parthian Empire. Antiochus successfully managed relationships with both the Romans and the Parthians, establishing lucrative trade deals that contributed to the growth of his kingdom's wealth. It was during that period that Antiochus I ordered the construction of the remarkable monument on Mount Nemrut. There were clear motivations behind the construction of such a colossal monument. Antiochus sought to establish himself as a god-king. By declaring his divine status and tracing his lineage to legendary figures and gods, he intended to affirm his dominion over the region and its inhabitants, as well as to impress neighboring rulers. This practice was not uncommon for that era. The members of the prominent dynasties during the Hellenistic period often claimed to have divine lineage. The Ptolemies asserted descent from the god Dionysus, while the Seleucids supposedly traced their ancestry back to the god Apollo. Antiochus I, through his mother Laodike, traced his lineage to the founder of the Seleucid dynasty, Seleucus I the Victorious, thereby claiming ultimate ancestry from Apollo. Additionally, his connection to Darius the Great carried significant prestige, although it should be noted that the Persian kings did not claim divine descent nor assume the status of god-kings, contrary to popular depictions in movies. Antiochus commanded the construction of the monument at the peak of Mount Nemrut, which has an elevation of 2,100 meters, approximately 7,000 feet. It was a hierothesion, which, as we mentioned, served both as a place of worship and as a funerary monument. At the top, they constructed a great mound using crushed rock and dirt with a 150-meter diameter and a 50-meter height. Underneath the mound lies the tomb chamber of Antiochus himself, though archaeologists have not yet located it due to the vast size of the tumulus and the rugged terrain of the mountain. Terraces were constructed on the north, east and west sides, with some featuring courts for worship. The most notable part of the monument is located on the eastern side, where 9 colossal limestone statues were erected. These statues were positioned with their backs against the mound. The tallest among them reached a height of up to 8 meters. Today, the heads of the statues are positioned in front of their bodies at the lower court, a result of vandalism whose exact date remains unknown. The central 5 statues depict seated figures, each representing a deity, and were flanked by guardian animal statues of eagles and lions on either side. The first figure on the left is Antiochus himself, portrayed as a god. Next to him is the personification of the kingdom of Commagene, fused with Tyche, the goddess of luck, good fortune, and prosperity. In the Hellenistic world, cities and occasionally kingdoms were sometimes personified as goddesses. The remaining 3 statues represent syncretic gods with both Greek and Iranian elements. The central figure is Zeus Oromasdes, a deity combining attributes of Zeus, the supreme god of the Greek pantheon, associated with the skies and lightning, and Ahura Mazda, the god of the Zoroastrians, the predominant religion among Iranians at that period. The name Oromasdis is the Greek version of Ahura Mazda. The figure on the right is identified as Apollo, Mithras, Helios, Hermes. Here we encounter the names of 3 Greek gods and 1 Iranian divinity. Apollo was the god of prophecy, light, music, and archery. Helios was worshipped as the sun god. Hermes presided over travelers, shepherds, merchants, and guided souls to the underworld, and Mithras was associated with light and justice. These deities share some similar attributes which led to their fusion into a single being. The last seated figure on the right is Artagnes Heracles Ares. Artagnes is the Greek name for Bahram or Varethragna, an Indo-Iranian warrior deity revered as the god of victory. Heracles, the most famous Greek hero who attained divine status, and Ares, the god of war, share similar attributes with Artagnes. The statues blend different cultural elements, displaying Greek facial features and adorned in Persian clothing. On the back of each statue, Greek inscriptions were carved. The inscription of the first statue reads, "The great King Antiochus, the God, the righteous one, the manifest, the friend of the Romans and the Greeks, the son of King Mithridates Callinicus and of Laodike, the brother-loving goddess, the daughter of King Antiochus Epiphanes, the mother-loving, the victorious, has recorded for all time on consecrated pedestals with inviolable letters the deeds of his clemency. I have come to believe that for mankind, of all good things, piety is both the most secure possession and also the sweetest enjoyment. This judgment became for me the cause of fortunate power and its blessed use, and during my whole life I have appeared to all men as one who thought holiness the most secure guardian and the unrivaled delight of my reign. By this means I have, contrary to all expectations, escaped great perils, have easily become master of hopeless situations, and in a blessed way have attained to the fullness of a long life. After taking over my father's dominion, I announced, in the piety of my thought, that the kingdom subject to my throne should be the common dwelling place of all the gods, in that by means of every kind of art I decorated the representations of their form, as the ancient law of Persians and of Greeks, the fortunate roots of my ancestry had handed them down, and honored them with sacrifices and festivals, as was the primitive rule and the common custom of all mankind. In addition, my own just consideration has further devised still other and especially brilliant honors. And as I have taken forethought to lay the foundation of the sacred tomb, which is to be indestructible by the ravages of time, in closest proximity to the heavenly throne, wherein the fortunately preserved outer form of my person, preserved to ripe old age, shall, after the soul beloved by God has been sent to the heavenly thrones of Zeus Oromasdis, rest through immeasurable time. Antiochus continues by declaring his lineage, explaining the purpose behind constructing the monument and providing detailed instructions for the cult ceremonies, maintenance, religious music, and overall worship practices. These directives included mandatory commemorations and festivals twice a year, on his birthday and the anniversary of his coronation. Additionally, he specified that the priests should wear Persian garments during these rites. At the lower level of the monument, a variety of sandstone Dexios stelae depicted Antiochus shaking hands with various Greek and Iranian deities. Among these, there was also a relief featuring a lion horoscope believed to signify the monument's date of creation. Positioned directly opposite this row of stelae was a stepped terrace structure housing a grand fire altar and statues of eagle and lion guardian figures. Positioned between these were additional sandstone reliefs arranged in facing rows, one row depicting Antiochus's Persian ancestors and the other displaying his Greek ancestors. Each ancestor relief had an altar placed at its front. The Nemrut monument is the most impressive Near Eastern structure of the 1st century BC. It is not only of immense scale, but also reflects advanced technological expertise. These aspects underscore the considerable wealth of Commagene during the reign of Antiochus, as well as the sophistication of the kingdom's craftsmen and builders. Additionally, it exemplifies the syncretic nature of Commagenean culture, symbolizing the consolidation of its rulers through a blend of Greek and Iranian cultural elements and deities, crafted from local limestone and sandstone rather than marble. In 64 BC, the Romans granted Antiochus control over the city of Zeugma, also known as Seleucia on the Euphrates. Established by the founder of the Seleucid dynasty, the city was one of the largest in the region, with a population of 70,000, the majority of whom were Greek settlers, giving Zeugma a distinctly Greek character. Additionally, the city held significant strategic importance. Zeugma is renowned for its exquisite mosaics crafted during the Hellenistic and Roman eras. In the late 1990s, construction of a great dam commenced in the region, causing the flooding of the area. To preserve the ancient mosaics threatened by the flood, the Packard Humanities Institute sponsored a large team of archaeologists that conducted emergency excavations from 2000 to 2003. These efforts successfully salvaged the mosaics, which are now housed at the Zeugma Mosaic Museum in the city of Gaziantep. Currently, much of the city of Zeugma remains submerged underwater, but ongoing excavations continue in the accessible areas. Recent discoveries have revealed that after gaining control of the city, Antiochus promoted royal worship. This is evidenced by the discovery of 10 sanctuaries dedicated to Antiochus himself and 3 royal tombs which also served as places of worship. Additionally, archaeologists excavated reliefs depicting the famous Dexios scenes where Antiochus is portrayed shaking hands with various deities like Helios and Mithras. Antiochus managed to maintain a delicate balance between the Parthians and the Romans until 38 BC, when his nephew and prince of Parthia, Pacorus I, went to war against the Romans in Syria. Pacorus was killed in the battle and the Romans emerged victorious. Subsequently, a portion of the Parthian survivors sought refuge in Commagene. The Romans accused Antiochus of sheltering their enemies and invaded his kingdom. The historian Cassius Dio suggests that the real motive behind the invasion was to seize the great wealth of Antiochus. The Roman army laid siege to the city of Samosata, where Antiochus had fortified himself. Despite their efforts, they were unable to capture the city and eventually withdrew. Following these events, according to Cassius Dio, the Parthian prince Phraates IV seized power by assassinating his stepbrothers and stepmother Laodike, the daughter of Antiochus I, forcing his father Orontid to crown him king. Antiochus was furious and wanted to take revenge, but he was subsequently assassinated by Phraates. Therefore, after the death of Antiochus in 38 BC, his son Mithridates II became the king of Commagene. Upon ascending the throne, Mithridates erected a great hierothesion to honor the women of the royal house, including his mother, his sisters, and his niece. During the Battle of Actium between Octavian and Mark Antony, Mithridates aligned with Antony, personally commanding his forces. Despite Antony's resounding defeat, Mithridates managed to survive the battle. Following Octavian's rise to power as Augustus, the first Roman emperor, Mithridates pledged allegiance to him. In 20 BC, Mithridates II was succeeded by his son, Mithridates III, who was later succeeded by his son, Antiochus III, in 12 BC. We know next to nothing about the lives of these rulers. However, it appears that the kingdom remained relatively stable and prosperous despite the increasing influence of both Rome and Parthia. What we do know is that Antiochus III married his sister Iotapa in true Ptolemaic or Achaemenid fashion. In 17 AD, Antiochus III passed away. His death led to a succession crisis as his 2 children, Antiochus IV and Iotapa, were too young to rule the kingdom at that time. It appears that the royal court of Commagene sought assistance from Rome to resolve the crisis, leading to Emperor Tiberius assuming control of the kingdom. During this time, Antiochus IV and his sister were sent to Rome and assimilated into the culture, with Antiochus adopting the names Gaius Julius. He distinguished himself in Roman society and developed relationships with many of Rome's elite. Eventually, he too married his sister. In 38 AD, Emperor Caligula, who was a close friend of Antiochus, reinstated him as ruler of Commagene and granted him additional coastal territories in Cilicia, along with a substantial sum of gold and silver. Antiochus returned to his kingdom and established a great city on the Cilician coast, naming it Antiochia at Cragum. The city had impressive temples, a great bath complex, and a large number of mosaic artworks. However, the relationship between Antiochus and Caligula soured soon after, leading to the emperor revoking his kingdom, though Antiochus himself remained in the region. Shortly after Caligula's death in 40 AD, Emperor Claudius restored Antiochus to the throne of Commagene. In the following years, Antiochus fought alongside the Romans against the Parthians and Armenians, and also suppressed a local rebellion in Cilicia. Throughout this period, he acquired great wealth, just like his ancestor Antiochus I. Commagene's power reached its zenith during this time, despite its status as a vassal state to Rome. However, this was not to last. In 72 AD, a Roman senator named Cassenius Paetus accused Antiochus and his sons of plotting to overthrow Emperor Vespasian. The senator was probably motivated by a desire to seize the great wealth of Commagene. Despite lacking evidence, Vespasian believed the accusations and dispatched Paetus to annex the kingdom. It is unclear whether there was a conflict, but it is likely that a brief battle occurred between the sons of Antiochus and the Roman army before Commagene was ultimately annexed by Rome in 72 AD. Despite that, Antiochus and his family were received in Rome, where they resided for the rest of their lives. They enjoyed the status of honorary Roman citizens, distinguished by high rank, prestige, and extensive education. Gaius Julius Antiochus, also known as Philopappus, the grandson of the last king of Commagene, achieved a distinguished political career, attaining the rank of Roman consul. He resided primarily in Athens, where he served as archon and demonstrated a great pride in his Greek heritage, tracing back to Seleucus. Philopappus was highly esteemed in Athens for his governance, patronage of the arts, and his friendship with philosophers and scholars, including Plutarch. Following his passing, his sister Julia Balbilla, along with the citizens of Athens, raised funds to construct a great monument in his honor. This monument still stands atop the Philopappus Hill in Athens, a testament to his enduring legacy and the respect he garnered in ancient Athenian society.